talk politics, but today we're not going to talk about the BBI, but something else that has sprouted from the BBI. Now, the push by a section of MPs to take over the BBI and develop minimum reforms has elicited strong reactions from Kenyans. The MPs caucus wants to start reforms akin to the inter-parties parliamentary group IPPG of 1997 to rescue some key BBI proposals. But just what can they amend or not amend? And how will this process be steered forward to avoid pitfalls that befell the BBI and other previous constitutional reforms? Let's begin with KTN's George Maringa.
Nearly 2 weeks after Justices Joel Ngugi, George Odunga, Julius Nga, Chacha Mwita and Teresia Matheka issued a judgment that rendered the BBI unconstitutional, null and void, it appears a group of legislators now want to go the parliamentary way. This will mean that some aspects of the BBI bill will be introduced into both the National Assembly and the Senate. Sources indicate that the current drive brings together MPs and senators from across the political divide, including those allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto, ODM leader Raila Odinga, ANC's Musalia Mudavadi, and Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka. The lawmakers are reportedly working on proposals which will be used to build consensus, even as Garissa Township MP Aden Duale reportedly hinted that the group had started talks that will result into minimum reforms. According to NAK Kenya party leader Martha Karua, who also served as Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister, legislators have the right to go through Parliament, but only to a certain extent.
You see, it's not possible to know what the proposals are until they are on the table. What I'm saying is this: things that touch on the core of the Constitution, like touching on the executive or on arrangements within Parliament itself, touching on the judiciary, those are no-go zone. And that's why I'm saying Parliament is perfectly in order to make laws. That it is work. But let them follow the guidelines set by the 5 bench of the High Court and also the Constitution itself, and they will be supported.
Article 256 of the Constitution states a bill to amend the Constitution may be introduced in either House of Parliament and may not address any other matter apart from consequential amendments to legislation arising from the bill. But the consideration to go the parliamentary way has attracted some objections from those supporting the BBI.
The BBI is not going to be decided by caucuses, and I want to tell those people who are dreaming of caucuses to abandon that. We are past that.
As Kenyans, we must be patient. We must remain patient and wait for that outcome. So that decision is going to be instrumental in determining the direction the country is going to take.
The said parliamentary way will borrow the 1997 Inter-Parties Parliamentary Group IPPG, an initiative by parliamentary political parties. At that time, the MPs wanted to enact legislations that would ensure elections are free and fair. Some of the proposals then included filling electoral commissioners' positions with names recommended by political parties.
There is time for reforms that do not touch on the core of the Constitution. And that's why I'm saying that it's up to Parliament to internalize the judgment, follow the guidelines, and follow the Constitution.
As the appeal case is set to begin in June, all eyes will be at the courts and Parliament to see which way the proponents and those objected to the BBI will go. George Maringa, KTN News.
Thank you, George. So the BBI process stuck in courts, the appeal case, yet to start at the Court of Appeal, and time is running out for proponents of the Building Bridges initiative. Bwana Wakili, the 13 members of Parliament, from both houses, are maybe thinking that, all right, we need a plan B for this thing because we will not be able to have a referendum by the time, the deadlines that are stipulated in law. Do you think this is what's happening, trying to save the BBI through these reforms that look like the IPPG of 1997?
Well, Ben, I think, there is a judgment from the High Court, and there is an appeal which has been preferred by the party that lost. Then there is Parliament that is coming in to discuss the same matter, which probably we can say is already in the Court of Appeal. I think Kenya has a problem, and politicians have positions. These 13 people, I mean, are they seeking, do they have like our mandate now to initiate what Raila and Uhuru initiated and it did not work out? Then they go to Parliament, they choose themselves into a group of 10, 13, 15, whatever, and then they say, we want to salvage some items in the BBI. Yet there is an appeal awaiting a decision, awaiting to be argued and then heard and then probably confirm the High Court decision or vary it. So I think our biggest problem in the country is we have problems, but we also have positions that are taken by the big boys. And once these positions have been taken by the politicians, they want to drive everybody towards that ideology. When the BBI process began, several people opposed it. Instead of joining in and correcting it from day one and say, okay, this could be the legal best way to go, they opposed it, just blanketly. And then now it has come to appear that it may not progress as it was expected. Right. Now, people with interests and positions are also now coming in to ensure that their views are held. And, and I think, to me, Ben, yes, it's actually cheating. It's all, it's all trying to deceive the citizens. We'll get into some of the issues in a short while. But Mark, this group of MPs, it includes from the Senate, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., James Orengo, Siaya and Makueni senators, Meru's Mithika Linturi, Johnson Sakaja, the Nairobi senator, and Kericho's Aaron Cheruyot. The MPs, members of the National Assembly, include Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria, Mvita's Abdulswamad Nasir, Sakwa Bunyasi, MP for Nambale, Shadrach Mose, Kitutu Masaba, Soipan Tuya, the Narok woman MP, Cecily Mbarire, nominated MP, as well as Otiende Amolo. What are you reading from this group?
Ben, there are two options, two main options. Option number one is that these people are looking at the 9-point agenda of the BBI and are looking at it benevolently and saying there are some issues here that we're yet to rectify as a country. If you look at the amount of vitriol, for example, being exchanged on social media on account of politics, then we still have a very volatile country. But secondly, and more likely, it is pointing to me that there is a section of the political class that wanted the reforms, but they did not want a referendum. And why they did not want a referendum is because a referendum would have led to a measure of the political might they had or they didn't have. And there was a great phobia. If you remember when BBI Report 1 came out, many of them had already said, even before the ruling, that these reforms should be passed through Parliament. There is no need for a referendum. And therefore, I posit that some of these politicians, their move against the BBI, and you can see people there who, like Moses Kuria, who are totally against the BBI. But now, because it has no wide-ranging political implications for their 2022 ambitions, they are keen to have these reforms. Therefore, here we are either dealing with a political class that has suddenly found Christ and become benevolent, or we are seeing them showing their true colors in their fear of a referendum. All right, Dismas and Jared Opio, I'm coming to you after this quick commercial break. We need to take a break for a moment here on Inside Politics, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we shall be getting into some of these 10 issues that this caucus of MPs have picked to look at. This includes the creation of a Prime Minister's position, issues of having the executive in Parliament, as well as reforms on electoral and security laws. Don't go too far.